Let's create your YouTube ads campaigns to generate some leads and sales. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources, including a link to our YouTube ads playbook that has all of our recommended settings, as well as a simple formula for in-stream ads, which we'll get to later. Now, if you already have a Google Ads account, here's the timestamp to jump straight into building out your campaign. Otherwise, you'll go to ads.google.com, you'll go ahead and click on sign up or sign in, and once you sign in using your Gmail address, don't worry, you can change it in the future, you'll hit a page that looks something like this, and you're going to want to click at the bottom for expert mode, marketer mode, whatever the heck they're calling it right now. So you get to a page that looks something like this. Now, once you're here, you're good to go, and you can join the rest of us that already have a Google Ads account. So if you already have one inside of your Google Ads account, just go ahead and click on the blue plus button here and click on new campaign, and you'll get to the exact same page. Hopefully we're all here and we're ready to go. So we'll go ahead and click on create a campaign without goals or guidance. And then we'll go ahead and click on video. We'll go ahead and leave it at custom, and then we can go ahead and click on continue. Now you'll notice here that we are using custom without guidance. As a general rule of thumb, go custom, go without guidance, because you have YouTube University, and a lot of the recommendations Google makes for YouTube ads campaigns isn't really in your best interest. So we'll go ahead and start with our campaign name. Just call it something that represents whatever your offer is. I'm calling this a demo, so I know to turn it off because I am terrible at turning these off. I pretty much always log into my account to do these, and I find one that I forgot to turn off from a previous tutorial. And then go ahead and let yourself know if it's in-stream or in-feed, because you're never going to have a campaign with in-stream and in-feed ads, because I definitely do not recommend doing that. So then for our bid strategy, we can go ahead and leave it at maximum cost per view. This means we're going to pay every time someone watches at least 30 seconds of our in-stream ad. Now for budgets and dates, we're going to go ahead and switch to daily. And I recommend $5 to $10 a day to get started. You can always spend more, but hey, just start at $5 or $10 a day. Now, I always record these well in advance, which is why it looks like this video was recorded a month ago. So we'll go ahead and set our start date to the 30th. And then for our end date, we're going to set it to 2 weeks later. Now, the reason that we want to do this is just in case you forget to come back and turn off the ad, or life happens, right? So Google's not going to give you a refund. And it's always better to come back to your ads account and go, oh, I wanted that to keep going, as opposed to, oh, that's still going. You know, you can tell the difference in the voice act. Let's just move on. All right, for networks here, we're going to go ahead and uncheck display network, because we want our ads to only show up on YouTube while people are watching on YouTube. Now these other two for in-stream ads, which is the type of ads we'll be making to drive traffic off of YouTube, not really a big deal, so we can go ahead and leave those alone for now. Now when it comes to locations, you are going to want to enter another location, click on advanced search, and of course I do this so much, Google's just trying to help you out here. Please don't use radius ever. Don't do it, even if you're a local-based business. Always use locations, add locations in bulk. And so as a general rule of thumb, when it comes to YouTube, you're probably going to be targeting an entire country. Now, if you're a local-based business, go ahead and put in the zip codes that you want to target. So for here, I'm going to come over to our campaign builder. I'm going to copy all 50 states, and then I'm going to drop it in here. And then I'm going to tell it to search, and I'm going to click on target all. If you want to target more than one country, then go ahead and create a campaign for each country that you want to target. You're going to have a lot more control over your budget. Now you may be wondering, why not just target the country and be done with it? Well, when you get this detailed, you can see that we can see an outline of each one of the countries. The advantage of doing it this way is when we go into our locations report, we're now going to see Oregon, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Montana, as opposed to just saying United States and then all of our views, impressions, and clicks, right? So the more detailed you are here, the more information you're going to have when it comes to analyzing. So if we were, say, in just New Mexico, then we would want to target the zip codes in New Mexico. We wouldn't just type in New Mexico and then be done with it, right? But if we're targeting the whole country, please don't go typing in all the zip codes for the entire United States. That's just ridiculous, and you're gonna have, your data is gonna be so segmented, it's not going to mean anything. And then of course here it didn't get Washington for some reason, so every once in a while it does that. So I need to go back and make sure that it actually gets Washington. But we're done with that. For languages, I tend to leave that alone unless you are targeting a really niche language in whatever location that you're targeting. But if it's a major language, just based upon the content of your ad and the way we're going to be targeting, you're probably going to get people who are speaking the proper language, especially because we're going to be using keywords. Now, when it comes to content exclusions, this is an area where I like to click on expanded inventory. Long story short, big brands got really upset that they were showing up next to less than brand worthy content in their opinion. For me, I don't care what my customer's watching as long as I can get in front of them. So go and click on expanded inventory. Your costs are going to be way lower. So then we'll go ahead and click on excluded types and then content not yet labeled. This just gives you the maximum number of opportunities to show up in front of the people you want to, because big advertisers are afraid of showing up next to something that might be a little controversial. So we'll go ahead and scroll down to related videos. I am getting a lot of questions about these. Please don't use them. You want people to click on your ad, to go to your landing page, to go to your site, to book a call with you, to buy your product, your widget. You don't want them watching other YouTube videos. So that's not what we're paying for here. So don't add related videos. Now for additional settings, we want to come into devices here, specific devices, turn off TV screens, because as of right now, it's kind of a catch and miss when it comes to being able to click on an ad that's going through a TV app, and it just sends it to their phone. So it's an extra step, and I really don't think it's worth paying for at this point in time. So all the other ones are okay, good to go. Now for frequency capping, ad schedule, third-party management, you can leave all of these alone. Frequency capping, unless you're spending hundreds per day, not a big deal. And ad schedule, unless you need to pick up the phone, then you don't really care what time of day someone's watching. So we'll go ahead and skip ad group creation for now. We'll go ahead and click on skip. We'll create our campaign and we'll continue. So now our campaign is scheduled to start. And of course, we need to add our ad groups and our ads. So jumping over to our diagram here, at the very top, we've just completed creating our ad campaign. So this is where we chose the location settings, how much we're going to spend, where our ads are going to show up in terms of the networks. It's just going to be YouTube. So now we need to create our ad groups. And this is where we tell Google Ads who we want to see our ads. And we're going to be using something called custom audiences or custom intent audiences. You can also use in-market audiences. Now, this diagram shows you all the different audience options you have. So I'll link up in the cards in the description to a much longer YouTube ads guide that goes through some of these other options. But for now, let's 80-20 the process and jump back into Google Ads using custom intent audiences. So inside of the campaign we just created, we'll go ahead and click on the plus button here, and then we'll give our campaign we'll give our ad group a name, but I'll go ahead and leave that alone for now. Now, you do have some options here in terms of demographics. The only thing I recommend changing here is 18 to 24 if you know that that age group just isn't going to buy. However, you do need to keep in mind that a lot of people watch YouTube when they're not logged in. So this can actually dramatically raise your costs. So I actually like to leave this checked now. I used to uncheck this all the time, and I find that it's just not worth the extra money that we're paying. So we'll go ahead and come down to audience segments, keywords, topics, placements. Those are awesome for growing a channel. Link in the cards in the description to a $5 a day ad strategy to grow your channel. Here, we want leads and sales. So we're gonna click on audience segments here. And when I click on browse, we're going to go to custom audience segments. Yes, there are a lot of other ones. In-market and life events are another great place to go looking and testing for driving leads and sales. But for now, we're going to go here, and then we're going to click on create a new custom intent. So of course, we can give it a segment name, and then we have two options. So we're going to make two ad groups. First ad group, we're going to click this option, and the second ad group, we're going to click this one and see which one works better, because you really don't know until you try. Now, the good news is the keyword research is super easy. Just go over to YouTube, search a very general keyword around whatever it is that you're offering, and then you'll see a bunch of YouTube suggestions. Now, I do recommend doing this in private browsing or incognito mode, although myself and my team have started to have trouble getting the suggestions to actually show up. It might just be because of our VPNs, but if you have trouble with that in private browsing or incognito mode, I definitely like to know if it's just us or if it's something that YouTube is starting to block because they don't want people doing this. So please go ahead and comment below if this doesn't work for you. But I've logged into one of our other channels and we have all of these suggestions around Facebook ads. These are not the ads. These are the keywords we're going to drop into Google Ads to help Google Ads find people who are interested in Facebook ads. Now, to save us some time, I've gone ahead and collected all of those. This is the YouTube Ads playbook that has a bunch of settings and, of course, a simple framework to follow along, linked up in the description. So you can see here, I already have all of these, so I'll go ahead and copy those keywords. I'll just drop them in. Now, Google documentation will tell you you need 30 or 50. You don't. You really don't. Just use the suggestions and you'll have more than enough information here. So I'm going to copy this, and then we'd go ahead and click on Save. Now I'm going to click Cancel because I already have this set up, but that's all you need to do here to create your custom intent. You can create as many of these as you want. So I'll go ahead and click on Cancel, and I think we're doing intentions. Yes, so I'll go ahead and select that. Now, here's something that's really important. Irrespective of what type of targeting you decide to use, one here, only one. Because the way Google Ads reports, well, if you have more than one here, then you won't know which one's actually working because all of your targeting options inside of your ad group, the clicks and impressions are all lumped together. So if you have more than one thing here, you're not going to know which one got more clicks or impressions. So that's one of the downsides of running YouTube ads right now, and this has been true for years. Maybe one day they'll fix it, but in any case, for now, we are stuck using just one targeting option per ad group. So we'll leave that alone. Always leave this unchecked. Don't give Google a blank check to go find whoever they think is going to be a good fit. We've already given them enough information. For our bidding, we'll go ahead and start it at 10 cents. Now, you can start as high as 20 or 30 cents. I like to start at 10 and then work my way up if I'm not getting any impressions. Now, speaking of impressions, if you're running in-stream ads and you come over here to placements and you start entering channels, it's not going to work. So if you're getting 0 impressions, you're like, why am I getting zero impressions? If you're targeting YouTube channels, 9.9 out of 10 times, you're not going to get any impressions if you're doing in-stream ads. In-feed ads, yeah, sure, or discovery ads, they work just fine, but don't use channels for in-stream. So we'll go ahead and click on Skip Ad Creation for now. We'll go ahead and skip. And when I click Save Ad Group, it's going to ask us if we're doing in-stream or in-feed. You need to click in-stream. This is an option that you can't undo. You can't have multiple ad types in the same ad group. So we'll go ahead and click on Save Format here. And then we're going to go through the process one more time. Timestamps below to skip over to the ad creation if you've got it and you don't need to see this again. So we'll go ahead and click on the plus button again. So I'm going to save us some time, I'm going to copy this, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Leave demographics alone, click on audience segments, and browse. We'll go to custom audiences. We'll click on custom segment. I'll go ahead and name it, and I'll grab a copy of our terms. The keywords should be the same. The only difference is now we're saying people who searched any of these. And you'd be surprised how, even though you're in the same niche, different keyword lists respond differently. So in one instance, people who searched is going to work really well. In another instance, people with interests or purchase intentions is going to work better. You just don't know until you actually test it. And then we'd go ahead and click on Save. And I'm going to go ahead and select terms here. So again, we only have one targeting option, and then we'll come down to our bidding. We'll start it at 10 cents. We'll skip our ad creation because we can easily create our ads and copy them over multiple ad groups. And I'll go ahead and click on skip. When I click save, we'll need to select in-stream. We'll go ahead and save the format. And now we have our 2 ad groups. So jumping back over to our diagram, you can see that we've created our 2 ad groups. And if you want to use other targeting options like in-market, then go ahead and create a completely separate campaign and have one in-market or life event audience per ad group, similar to how we've structured this one. So now it's time to actually create some ads. So let's go ahead and jump back in here. I'm going to click on our terms. It doesn't matter which one you click on because you can copy and paste over the ad later. We'll go ahead and click on the plus button to create our new ad. Now for time purposes here, I've gone ahead and saved my ad information so you don't have to watch me go and type this out and figure out what it's going to be. So all you need is the URL. You'll go ahead and drop it in. We'll go through a formula for how to actually structure this ad in a moment. Now we'll need our final URL here, so we'll go ahead and copy that over. And you'll notice with our URLs here, we have our final URL is actmarketing.systemi.io, but the display URL is actmarketing.systemi.io without all that extra stuff. The disadvantage of not having a custom domain with whatever page builder you're using is I have to leave systemi.io in here because that's the actual root domain. Whereas if I try and do something like this, where I go actmarketing.io, it's going to give me a message letting me know when I try and post the ad that you can't have a different display URL from the actual domain of your final URL. So that's one of the reasons that it's important to have your own custom domain when you're running ads. And then of course, we're going to want a call to action. Now there is a drop-down list here. We'll just go ahead and click on download now. For our headline, we'll go ahead and grab our headline. It's just going to be campaign audit. Inside of our playbook, we have the same drop-down list as well. So it's really easy for you to plan all this out. So it's literally just copy paste by the time you get into the sometimes overly confusing interface. And then of course we have a convoluted name just so I know that this is a demo in the future when I'm going through my own reports. So that is all there is to it, to creating your skippable ad. Of course, you can kind of see, preview it. It's not going to show up on a TV. And you'll see this send to phone feature does not always work. I mean, we're talking about all different types of YouTube TV apps, let alone Android versus Apple. And just as an example, I use Apple TV to watch YouTube on my TV, but I have an Android phone. So when I see ads like this, I can never click on them because the two don't talk to each other, obviously. All right, probably more information than you needed to know. You're like, okay, I get it. Don't use TV ads. Got it. So when it comes to what do we actually put in this ad, here's a quick diagram that goes through a simple formula you can use for actually creating your own ad. So the first 30 seconds, you need to hook your ideal viewer and specifically call out who this ad is for. It's important because you pay after 30 seconds. So you need to alienate everyone who's not a good fit for whatever your offer is so that you don't pay for unqualified people or irrelevant people to continue to watch your ad. Then the next 15 seconds, just have a call to action. After the first 30 seconds, have a call to action. Tell them to click the link below to grab a copy or learn more, whatever the main call to action is. And then you'll go through about a 45 or 60 minute benefit roadblock section where you talk about some of the struggles they're facing, how this offer is going to help them overcome it. Then you can debunk a common myth, and you'll wrap up with another call to action. This video does not need to be more than 2 minutes. Remember, people can see how long the ad is. So if you have a 5-minute ad, people, even if they're a good fit, they're gonna go, I don't wanna sit here for 5 minutes. Whereas if it's 90 seconds or 2 minutes and it sounds like something they might be interested in, they're much more inclined to actually watch and learn, right? Now, real quick note, before we jump back into the interface, that middle section where we're talking about benefit roadblock, it needs to be about the offer on your next page. So if you have a webinar or if you have a lead magnet, the ad should be about the webinar or lead magnet, not about whatever's sold inside of the webinar or after the lead magnet. So just a quick distinction. So let's jump back into the interface here. Again, link in the description to the playbook that has that formula. So we'll go and click on Save Ad. So the final step here, we're on the home stretch. We just need to select this ad and copy it over to our other ad group. So I'll go ahead and select it here, click on Edit. We can go ahead and copy. And when I click Close, you'll see that this paste element has shown up. So I'll go back over to our ad group level here. So we were in Terms. So I'll click on Intentions, where we don't have an ad, and I can click on Paste. I'll click on Done, and then we'll go ahead and paste it. And just like that, our ad has been pasted into our second ad group. So if we click on our campaign level here, you'll see we have our 2 ads, one in Terms and one in Intention. And so now it's time to let the data come in and see how our ads do. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you are all set up and ready to go with YouTube in-stream ads to drive targeted traffic off of YouTube. Comment below with your advertising questions. I still read and reply to every single one. Hit that like button and subscribe for more marketing guides just like this one. And until the next, Keep building the business you love.